hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, man. August 29th, 2024. My name's Dan Boole. This is a rare hand-wired whiskey. Apparently, I just got a notice that I'm having a hard time streaming to Facebook. Oh, God. I'm live on YouTube. Oh, crap. Let's see. Let me have a quick look here. Man, it's streaming world is something else. You know what? I don't know why it's having a hard time. Are you guys on Facebook? Anybody here on Facebook can give me comments. YouTube guys, say hello. Yes, I got all my hair cut off. I don't know. Maybe we're working now. I've got green check mark. Oh, boy. Hate that. And I have a computer noise. All right. So you're, Doug Gilliam, you're on YouTube, though, are you not? Yes, you're on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Okay, good. Oh, boy. You know, these things always happen last minute. Remember last minute, this guitar screwed up. And I went, and I couldn't find my soldering iron. Of all things, I'm an amp maker, and I couldn't find my soldering iron here at home. And I'm still looking around for it. Thanks, John Dotson. Yeah, I got an error, so maybe it was a erroneous error. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're moving on. And I have a very rare hand-wired whiskey. Good to see you, Doug. Good to see you, John. Good to see you, Brian. I might have called you Byron there. Sorry. Don't have my glasses on. Hear that noise? Computer's going crazy. It has solid state drives. I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't catch on fire and blow up while we're here. That would be nice. Anyway, so Mike and I have, I think, 4 or 5 hand-wired whiskeys. These were never sold. We went into production with printed circuit boards. I think it was mainly because I got talked out of it for production cost. So these would have been very expensive, and they're in the traditional 65 black and tan. They would have been, I think, about $800 more, $600 more than the printed circuit board version. People tend to think that printed circuit board cuts the cost down by 75%. It doesn't. So I'm still using high quality transformers and caps and resistors and all that stuff. So anyway, this is a hand wired version. The clean sound, examining it 11 years later, 10 years later, we decided to update it a little more, and I'm playing with it now. I think I have another mod I just couldn't pull off by today's show, so I'll have it next week. But this is the clean, this is the dirty. I'm using my old Yoshino factory Japanese Strat from 1986 that I bought at the Sunset Strip Guitar Center. I think I paid $179 for this on sale. Now it is a monster guitar that has primo parts, including a bespoke set of pickups that Ron Ellis made for me. If you guys don't know Ron Ellis, please get to know him. And then this one screwed up last week. The wiring was messed up in the jack, and I couldn't find my I could not find my soldering iron to fix it. So I called my good friend Michael DeTemple this morning at 8 o'clock. And said, Michael, I need a crazy favor from you. Can I come over to your shop and solder in a new jack? And he said, of course, just call me when you get here. And he actually did it for me. He wouldn't let me do it. And he made it just so nice and went over the guitar and checked the he's just the best. Do you guys know Michael DeTemple? Let me put it here on the screen. Michael DeTemple, I think, is maybe the best guitar guy I've ever met in my life. Michael used to work for the band, um, and like lived in the big pink house in New York. The whole thing with Bob Dylan and the band started out there. He's an LA guy. He played for Butterfield for a long time. He actually played with Rick Danko for a long time. When Rick Danko went out on his own after the band. He tells me a really funny story. You know, The Last Waltz by the band. Apparently those guys were really, really wrecked when they filmed that. Like everyone on stage was kind of stoned or high or coked out or whatever. And he had to go back and fill in, overdub a lot of the guitar parts. But he had all their guitars and all their amps still there because he managed all that stuff for the band. So a lot of what you're hearing on that movie is Michael DeTemple playing guitar. My favorite story was, I think it was Neil Young, had a huge Coke booger in his nose. And so Michael sat in the editing room. Hi, Ross Fletcher. Michael sat in the editing room with Martin Scorsese and his editor, and frame by frame on film, they painted out the Coke booger in Neil Young's nose. So that's cool. Inside music business stuff. But anyway, Michael does repairs and fretwork. You know that white Strat that I have that you've seen so many for years? That's a 1960 custom shop relic reissue thing. Out of the box, I wasn't real wild about it. I just knew it was a great piece of wood. Like really good piece of wood. So I took it to Michael, had him refret it. He has some special fret wire that's unique to him, and he does the best fret work that I've ever seen in my life. If you need a fret job done, you can just mail him a guitar if you don't live in LA. He's the most caring, kind, loving guitar guy I've ever seen in my life. I really honestly think his guitar knowledge is supernatural. But what makes him so special is a moron like me can call him first thing in the morning and go, "Hey, Mike, I got a dumb request." And he goes, "Sure, buddy, come on over." And he lives about 10 minutes from me over in Van Nuys here. And I show up, he's got a cup of coffee in his hand. He comes out to the shop. His shop's at his house, right? It's out in the garage. And sat down, we had a wonderful conversation. He showed me some of the guitars he's working on. Anyway, if you need anything, or if you want to buy one of his guitars are insane. He tunes the wood to resonate like in A440, you know, in standard tuning. Or if you're a guy that plays a half step down, he will tune the wood to vibrate and resonate along those frequencies. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But his attention to detail is second to none. I don't think there's a better guitar guy that I've ever met in the United States or in Europe. There's probably some guys as good as him, but I've never met anyone better. So if you need anything, call Michael DeTemple. That's my plug from my longtime friend, Michael DeTemple. He used to come over to the shop all the time and hang out and tell us stories. And, oh my God, it was just so much fun. Anyway, thank you, Michael. I wanted to play this guitar with my new pickups on it. But let's try out the new clean sound. Anyway, I'm really digging this amp. We've updated it just a little bit on the dirty side. And then the clean sound, this is work in progress. It's a lot better than it was. I can show you what it was. I think on the hand-wired ones, we never finished them before we switched to go to the printed circuit board. So this was the clean sound before. That ain't good, is it? That's not, but this is now. So I'm really happy with it. It's got a little ways to go. Hoss Thompson, right? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? Play that funky music, white boy. Yeah, man. That's the sound of my youth right there. Play that funky music, white. Anyway, this guitar sounds great. These pickups Ron made are amazing. Another guy you should know, if you don't know Ron Ellis, you're missing out. He's down in San Diego. Oh, hell yeah. So you like that, Haas? Steve Kirk. That song's got groove, doesn't it? It's people make fun of that song. Funky music, white boy. Yeah. Whatever the lick is. Yeah. That's a good memory, Haas. Thank you. I love that song when I was a kid. I think that song came out when I was 4th or 5th grade. And I was in Missouri, right? So people didn't want to say, your logo's covering up the amp. Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. Let me take that. I'm just showing this comment I made so everybody could hook up with Michael DeTemple. Yeah, it's the whiskey. It's the whiskey. It is. And we're kind of updating these amps. So we got the clean sound getting better. We got one more mod. Mike, I went over to Mike's place last night and we got this working right. And he texted me this morning. He goes, I got it. But he's busy all day, so I couldn't get it. I still got that Stone Temple Pilot stuff, but this is with a low output Strat. I'll pick up a humbucker here in a minute and give you some real raunch, but I don't have the gain. The gain's on like 6.5. I like those complex chords so you can hear how the amp actually works, right? Thank you, Steve. It's a great demo song. You can hear if your amp actually has note separation and clarity, right? I'm going to get a letter from their lawyer at some point. Anyway, this is my old Japanese Strat with Ron Ellis pickups in it. Everything else is stock. Everything's got a new nut. And Ron changed the bridge out. He had it down at a shop for a few years. I took it down there before COVID. And kind of said, you know, like when you go to a Japanese restaurant and you let the chef make whatever he wants. You say to the chef, omakase. I went to Ron and said, omakase, buddy. Just do whatever you want. Make it nice. Because I have some other Strats, and they sound really different than this one. You know, I have that white Strat. Very snappy, modern sound. I have that blue Elliott Strat, which is hum single single with a maple neck. Very different pickups. Also great. This is just a Strat, you know, like traditional Strat. Got the press metal, pop metal bridge on it, like that came with it on the 50s and 60s before CBS. Ron made me some staggered pole pickups. And they're kind of a mix of 50s and 60s stuff that he likes. He knows what I like. We've known each other for a long time. Just cool old Strat sound. So now I have 3 very different sounding Strats. And let's see, the white one has Jason Lawler pickups. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, I agree. If you're not familiar with Ron's pickups, the note separation and the clarity on them is crazy. As with this, you got to have an amp that can replicate it, right? Haas Thompson says, you guys got to forgive me. I have to read over here, look into the camera, and play guitar at the same time. Sometimes I stutter. Oh, I just got an email about the whiskey. Yeah, I'll respond to your email. It's fair price. It's not like, yes, Mike, this is the updated whiskey. Yeah, that's right. And I'm not finished updating it. We're going to make the clean sound better probably tomorrow. So I'll play it next week. And so anyway, Haas Thompson says, I actually think that a Strat should sound like a cliche Strat tone. It just works like that. It really does. I mean, there's 3 or 4, distinct eras of early Strats, pre-CBS Strats. And I like them all. Also, maple necks on the old ones sound really different than the rosewood neck ones. So this has a nice little honk to it, so I kind of got a little bit of an attitude. I like it. It's not a polite guitar. It's hard to do with a microphone right here. It gets in the way. Let's go over to the clean side a little bit. Get a little more out of it. I think the problem is I have the dirty sound too loud. So if you guys don't remember, the whiskey has a different topology that I made for our tuning pros. The clean sound has no master volume on it at all. It's just wide open. The dirty sound has a master volume on it. And that way you can get a very nice controlled big fat dirt sound at whatever volume you want, and then go to a loud clean sound. So like, for example, I can turn the gain up on the dirty side and then the master way down, right? And I can go and then switch over to clean. I can even go way down. I can take the master down even further, right? So I got a dirty sound like this. And go to a louder clean sound. Mike, Loop Trot, it's not much. If you want to send it to Mike Franciscini, probably less than $100. That's the whole thing. The mod game is kind of a scam. The guys that are doing, do Jose Arredondo mods. It's like $12 worth of parts and a half hour of labor. They charge you $800, So anyway, let's go back to the dirt. And get some more gain out of it. But let me plug a humbucker in here too. Thank you, Brian. I agree. I like this amp, man. Haas Thompson says correctly, again, I never understood folks who try to make a Strat sound like a Les Paul. It's entirely its own thing. Yeah, maybe just people like the shape of a Strat better or something. It's entirely its own thing, like a Gratsch, Telly, a Rickenbacker. If you want that color, nothing else will do. That's true. I understand, like, maybe people, their eye sees the look of a guitar, but they want the sound of another one. I get that. Yeah. Screwed that up. Weinstein, you should not have sold your Elvis, but I still love you anyway. It's okay. All right, let's hook up a humbucker, yeah? Hear the difference. I can throw in a Gretsch too if you want. Gretsch is kind of a small market. I love Gretches, but I'm old. You know what I mean? I'm old. Yeah, that's right. I got all my hair cut off. It's hot in LA in the summer. Hot in the summer tonight. All right, let me grab a humbuckeroni. Yeah, I got Gretsch, Les Paul, Strat with hum single. Whatever you want to do. I might have to tune this up. I'm sorry. We can talk in the meantime. I like talking to you guys. I like hearing you guys talk. How about that? That's an unusual thing. Oh, my shirt. I have to tell you about my shirt while I'm tuning this up. I had the coolest experience this week. Hey, what's up, Che Bruda? Yeah, Bruda, it's a Bruda. After I rearrange my rehearsal space, I will rig up a stereo rig with my Little Whiskey and my Friedman Dirty Shirley Mini, mainly for Al. Yeah, that's a great rig, yeah. That is cool. Yep, Dave knows what he is doing. Let's see how far out of tune this is. It's a Gibson. Not bad. Wow, look at me. Okay. So, I have a friend of mine who has a handmade guitar by a luthier company here in Los Angeles called Candelas Guitars. Or in American English, Candelas. Hey, y'all, let's go out here to... hey, David Nimitz, how are you, buddy? Yeah, empty nest, I get it. $100 says the G is flat. Yeah, probably. It's a Gibson. That's why it starts with G. So, Jeff, I'm going to send me a private message or an email. I'll put my email address up here. If I mention price on the show, the algorithm will want me to charge tax and come and start watching what I do. So, I think it was it Plato or was it Socrates who said, fuck algorithms? It's one of their lesser known writings. Open Hair on the G string by Bach, right? Yeah, that's right. So anyway, can't see it now, but Candelas Guitars, they've been around since 1928 in Los Angeles, and they make the best sounding cool guitars I've seen in a long time. But they also make most of those, like, Latin American. No, this is before Leo Fender existed. This is 1928. So it's Candelas family has owned this since 1928. The two guys that were working there, their name is Delgado, but they are descendants of the original. So the original Mr. Candelas, Senor Candelas. Yeah, Todd, it was Plato. Thank you. Mr. Senor Candelas started the company in 1928, and then his son started working with him, from what I understand, during World War II-ish kind of thing. And then his grandson, whose name was Delgado, was also Candelas, started working there in the 60s. And then his son, whose name was Delgado, Tomas Delgado Sr., started working there after that, who is still there, and I saw them the other day. And then his son, Tomas Delgado Jr., was there. So whatever that is, 5 generations of family working there. So look up, I'll put it here, Candelas guitar. It looks like candelas. If you're not comfortable saying Spanish words correctly. you can say candelas. They don't mind. Which is funny because I went there with one of my friends. Oh, I didn't capitalize it. That's rude as hell. Let's take that off. I went there with a friend of mine who speaks Spanish fluently. And the guy who owns the guitar that I had, he gave me the guitar to, like, you know, restring it and clean it up and everything. He's an older gentleman. He's my lawyer, actually. So, yeah. And anyway, it was funny because when they were speaking Spanish, the lady behind the counter, Loretta, who was awesome, said candelas. And then she would turn to me and say candelas, as if I'm a gringo that can't say Spanish words, which I've lived in LA a long time. I can pronounce Spanish words okay. My accent is probably still very gringo, but it is not, you know, give me some chili con queso and Guatemala sauce, you hombres. That's not me. Oh, yeah, something's wrong already. Hold on. Yep, B string went flat. G string's a little sharp. Anyway, there's the same song. I know I'm stuck on this Stone Temple Pilots thing, but it just sounds good, right? So what was the other one? I was playing? Interstate Love Song, right? Anyway, guys, go look up Candelas Guitars. Lovely people. And, but they make all those cool mariachi instruments. Like, I played things, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it. I played a guitarron. I played a sexto, which is 5 pairs of strings. Some of them are as thick as bass strings. My friend, the other friend that went with me, she plays a vihuela. She's in a big play that goes all over the country called American Mariachi. And she plays a vihuela in there, which is like a little 5-string guitar that has that round back, you know, kind of a pineapple thing. Not like ukulele size, a lot bigger than that, but it's really cool. I played a sexto, a guitarron, guitarra de colpe, which is kind of like a classical guitar, only it's the scale's a lot longer. It sounds just amazing. It was all orange fields and yeah, East LA, that's right. It was right there on Cesar Chavez Boulevard. Oh yeah, Scotty Bratcher says Facebook captioned it sex toe. Yeah, everybody's had one of those. Anyway, yeah, East LA, Cesar Chavez Boulevard. And man, we had some food. Holy moly. I don't mean to kink shame you, Dan, but you're really supposed to talk about playing a toe in public. You got me, guys. Actually, I don't have a toe fetish, but I know people who do. I find it to be strange, but that's just me. Anyway, so we went across the street to Siete Mares, 7 Seas, right? And I had a seafood ceviche and a shrimp ceviche. Oh, I'm salivating talking about it. Oh my God, it was good. Siete Mares, 7 Seas, and I had 2 tostadas ceviches. Fresh. One was fresh fish. The other one was fresh shrimp. Holy cow. They were $6.99 each, too. It was incredible. I ate so much food, my belly button popped out. And my pidgin Spanish got me by. Luckily, our friend Chrissy Guerrero helped. I think the biggest sentence I pulled off was "Igualmente para mí, por favor." And then Chrissy said, "It's not mio, it's just me. Mio's Italian." Shit. I'm trying. Rob Price, my Argentine Brazilian wife gets labeled as a gringo all the time because she looks German. Yeah, well, there's a lot of Germans down in Argentina. Apparently, there was a large migration there after in 1946. I don't know why that is. We have a lot of Argentine restaurants here, and the guys, it's literally like, he has a thing on his shirt that says, "My name's Klaus," and I go, "Hey, man, are you German?" He goes, "No, no, I'm Argentinian." And I go, "Really? You don't speak German or anything?" "No, no, no, and just Spanish and English." And then he'll take my order, and I say, "Dankeschön." He goes, "Bitteschön." Oh, shit. Lots of Germans down there. I'm German, so I can make those jokes. My dad's family are all Germans. Even though I have this French last name, they're Krauts. We're all Krauts. And my mom's family are Irish. So it's a volatile combination, right? I like to drink beer, eat potatoes, fight. And for some reason, I want to take over countries. I don't know why. It's a weird combination. Yeah, that sounds all right, huh? What was the other one I was playing? Oh, right, Interstate Love Song. Hoss. Hoss Thompson, you're killing me over here. I'm trying to play guitar. Yes, some of the German side wants to be very prompt and exact, and my Irish side's like, who cares? What's the big worry? Life is short. Lighten up. It's a big conflict inside of me for sure. I can't. It's weird. So like, I cannot stand being late. I mean, I get real big anxiety if I'm late, but I could give two shits if someone else is late seeing me. I don't care. That's the Irish side. Like, take your time. It's fine. So how about these chords, right? For note separation. C minor 7, G major 7, with suspended 4. B minor diminished 6th. B flat diminish. And then A9. Suspended E, right? And then F sharp minor. And then inverted E, right? And I have the master volume on like 4. It still sounds like great amp, right? Doesn't sound like happy jazz chords, right? I'm going to do a split screen with you, Hoss. Can we get you in here? Oops. Man, this is a weird chord. So you go bum, and then pinky here, and then index finger back here. Yeah, itchy brother. Who's Phil, by the way? Good to see you, Phil. Sure, man, anytime. Seriously, I can bring in 2 more people on video here. We should do that. If you got a good camera and lights, let's hook it up. Phil says, I love the fact that when you play local music, the planet knows it. Over here, it depends on which side of town you're on and how old you are. Yeah, the Stone Temple Pilots are from San Diego, just south of here. And they were produced by your friend and mine, Brendan O'Brien. I've known Brendan since the 80s in Atlanta. And Brendan makes great sounding guitar records. I've heard the demos of these songs. Don't sound anything like this, right? It's really cool. But anyway. I got the gain way up now because we were goofing around with the Strat. Let me turn the gain down to like 6. E minor major 7. No, Brendan did not do the early Deftone record. So Brendan's breakthrough record was engineering the Black Crowes' Shake Your Moneymaker. And that was in Atlanta, when Brendan used to work at a few studios around town. He was kind of the go-to guy for doing demos. He did a lot of session work for everybody. He was kind of the engineer on the run, right? Driving all over town. And Brendan had a neat arrangement with bands. He'd do your demo tape with the understanding that if something happened, you'd kind of take him with you, right? And it happened with the Crowes. George Drakoulias heard about it, went in and they worked on it together, George Drakoulias, with Brendan as the engineer. But everybody kind of knew behind the scenes that Brendan was the guy coming up with the sounds. So he started getting deals like Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Rage Against the Machine, a whole bunch of other bands like that, those 90s big guitar bands. And then he progressed on up to doing AC/DC records and Bruce Springsteen records. And what was that one? Bruce had a big hit, I guess it's almost 20 years ago, Radio Nowhere. Brendan produced that using a London. If you listen to that track, you can go, oh yeah, that's a 65 London. You can totally tell. And then Bruce ended up buying a few amps from us after that. He bought a London, he bought a Soho, and something else. I can't remember. Because of his association with Brendan and the fun that he had. So, yeah, if you listen to it now, knowing that it's a 65 London, you'll hear it and go, oh, yeah, that is a London, isn't it? And I think they recorded that at Bruce's studio in New Jersey, at his house, I think. I'm not 100% sure. If not, Brendan usually works out here at Henson Recording. Weird noise. He works out at Henson Recording in Hollywood, the old A&M studios. He's that dude that lays on the floor and listens to the hiss of the mics. Yeah, that's right. Good memory. Yeah, when I first met Brendan in Atlanta, I went to some session he was doing at a house. It was a domestic studio. And I still remember the lick on the song. I don't remember the rest of the song. I just remember that lick because I thought it was really cool. Let's go clean on this. You can hear a little humbucker clean, right? Oops, guitar's going to fall off. Les Pauls don't like to sit on your right leg. Mike Leaptrod says, hey, 13th of September, can't wait to finally see and hear Scotty Bratcher live in Ohio. Yeah, man. Scotty's got some hands. He's a really nice dude, too. We talk on the phone once in a while. Sweet guy, a real gentleman, not like crazy egomaniac, druggy, drunk guy. He's a really sweet dude. So I'm going to have this clean sound a little better next week, if you want to hear it. It's just kind of weird. It's hard to balance a good dirty sound and a good clean sound. So if I go from that to this, right? It's just such a different sound. No, I like crazy drunk guys and the good ones. There's a lot of not so good ones around. And there's a lot of them in the music business. Uh-oh. Gibson. Oh, hold on. Oh, look, my G string went flat. How'd that happen? Now, this is totally dry, too. Like, you put some echo on this and double it in Pro Tools, blah, 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 blah. It'll sound great. I can put a little more room sound on it here on the aux box. A little more. And then, hey, Joel Whitley, how are you, man? Good to see you. Long time no see. One of my favorite guitar players in LA, Joel Whitley, excuse me. How many people have made that mistake, Joel? Yeah, Joel's the sweetest guy. And oh my God, his hands are good. Hoss Thompson says, speaking of druggy egomaniac drunks, have you seen the brothers from Manchester? Yeah, I did. I can't even remember all my good Oasis riffs, but I saw some memes that said he learned a fourth chord, so they're going to write some new songs. I actually like Oasis. I think they're fun. I mean, they're definitely young sounding music, right? Gibsons. All right, sorry guys, let me fix this. You know, Gibsons are great sounding guitars. Might be a setup issue. Nerd, you're using an aux, but have you messed with the Fryette power station? No, I haven't. I heard it's good. You know, it's funny you say that, Hoss, because, you know, I lived in England in the early 90s, and Blur was really taking over, and Oasis was just starting to, like, nip at their heels. No one over here has heard Blur. I don't know what happened. They never got over here. Blur, great band, and fun, and creative, and all that stuff. I mean, Oasis is kind of feral, and I told you guys I sold an amp to Noel Gallagher, right? He bought a London really early in our existence. He bought a London, and I got to talk to him on the phone, and he was very complimentary. He was very nice. And I said, oh, Phil loves Blur. Well, there you go. Yeah, people here don't really know much about Blur here. Not even at Candelas Guitars. You guys got to go there. Anyway, so I talked to him on the phone, and I said, well, I'm really glad you like the amp. And he said, oh, yeah, the tones, it sounds really, you know, cool Vox sound. He's a complete Vox queer, right? And I go, well, are you going to use it on stage? And he said, no, mate. Why not? Because it looks like a fucking Chevy. I'm like, okay. We're a British band. It was his joke. That was a joke. He was nice. We were laughing. But he was saying we're a British band, so we play British gear. And I get it. It's totally cool. There's some Fender amps on stage, but I wasn't going to point that out to him. But mostly, you know, Marshalls and Voxes. And that's cool. Let's get a little more gain going here and see what she do. Speaking of Brendan O'Brien records. Soundgarden, My Wave. Do you guys know that song? What's the count on that, right? Where's one? I don't know the rest of the song. I just love that riff. Oop, clumsy riffs. That may. Okay, I get that. You paid for it. You can do whatever you want. A lot of room sound, maybe too much, huh? Cut it back. Maybe a little bit less. With the gain, it gets too much. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's 5, right? Yeah. How many rock songs are in 5? Have you ever heard that song and how good Chris Cornell sings on that song? The whole thing is just a freaking masterpiece. And from what I understand, again, Brendan had a lot to do with that. That song sounded very different when they brought it in, and Brendan went, you know, I have an idea. Can we try something? And it turned out like that. Look it up, My Wave by Soundgarden. And if you're playing it through your studio monitors, there's some really good headphones, not earbuds, but like good cans. Crank that noise up because it'll make you really happy. What is the rip? I have to hear the song. I haven't played it in decades. When that stuff was coming out in the 90s, I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God, rock and roll's back. Yeah, Tattooed Love Boys is 7. That's right. I know you've deceived me. Now here's a surprise. How's that on the clean? Yeah, you're going to dig this clean sound next week. It's pretty good right now, but we're going to improve it. And then we'll sell you. We have 3 of these, I think. Yeah, is that right? 3. And one of them is, we have 3 heads and I think 1 combo. The only problem is we don't have a combo cabinet. That will take a minute. But we can sell you heads, and they're going to look like this. They're not going to be the black whiskey head with the cloth on it. That was the printed circuit board one. This is the hand wired one. Push a little harder. I mean, that's like the clean channel all the way up right here. Man, that's a good rhythm sound to me. I'm old. What did he say? I'm 59 years old. To me, that's a great rhythm sound. And one of the things I always notice when I go hear bands play is they play old songs way dirtier than they were recorded. I mean, they just weren't dirty. You know, like I see guys playing AC/DC songs and Zeppelin songs, and it's just full on crazy metal dirt. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? Have you ever listened to the record? Like, it doesn't sound like that. You know. AC/DC, well, maybe not quite that clean. Let me give you what AC/DC sounds like. Let me give you a little more gain here. Maybe not even that dirty. Sharp A string. Gosh darn it. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. I cannot sing quietly, so sorry. I can't sing that high anyway. I'm kind of just whispering it here because I got a mic right in front of me. That's not dirty, but I hear guys play it like this, right? Or worse. Which isn't a bad sound, just not the way the record was cut. Best AC/DC tones on that record. Yeah, I agree. That whole like Highway to Hell and earlier stuff, I think is so good. I mean, Back in Black's a great record. And like, even as far as like recording and songwriting and all that stuff, but the guitar tones are a little modern and advanced compared to Highway to Hell and TNT and all that stuff. You know, it's great. Early stuff. So again, like the gain level's low. Malcolm Young. Mal is playing a Gretsch with Filtertrons in it. You know, they're like 4.7K. It's not pushing the amp hard at all. And then Kjell Arne Clausen, how are you, buddy? Greetings from Sweden. Sounds great. Do you have a price? I do. I just don't want to say it on the show because then the algorithm will want to charge tax. So can you send me, you can send me a private message here on Facebook, or my email, which I will put up here again, is danbull@me.com. And if I'm not responding to you for some reason, it might be the spam filter has got me. So just, you know, hit me up. Keep trying. We have 3 of these. Oh, it's hard to do this at the same time. I have microphones and cameras in the way. And there's a whole lot of light here. You can't tell because the camera adjusts it, but I should be wearing sunglasses right now. Yeah, so used market on these is usually around $2,200 or $2,300 for the printed circuit board ones. I will sell it to you a little bit less than that. But this is a hand-wired one. It's very unusual. We got 5 of them. All right, yeah. So these are low output humbuckers by Ron Ellis. That might be just a hair too much gain. But that's the kind of grit, you know. You know how I know that song is my band won the 10th grade talent show in Columbia, Missouri. At Rockbridge Senior High, playing that song. Yeah, that's it, kind of. Literally, so that would have been 1981. So I haven't played it in a band. How many years ago was that? 43 years ago? I think I need to put a little juice in the nut on this guitar. The strings seem to be sticking when I bend them. Bust out some Reverend Billy on that amp? Sure. Let's see. Oh, my email's typoed there. It's just danbull@me.com. What a dork. danbull@me.com. My hands are getting a little sticky. I'm getting a better position. Sing it. Who can sing it? Hoss can sing it. Go out and get yourself some deep, dark shades. Lenses so dark they won't even know your name. That's a good song. I like that early ZZ Top stuff better. Anything from Eliminator on is not really a Marshall sound. It's, you know, there's Tom Scholz Rockman in the 80s, that kind of stuff. a little more gain for that, right? Good string separation and clarity, though, right? Got to go scar young minds. Oh, yeah. Phil's teaching at college over there in East Tennessee. Have fun teaching Pro Tools and all that stuff. Yeah, Hoss Thompson, I kind of agree with you. I mean, I like Brian Johnston, but it's all about Bon Scott when it comes to AC/DC. The songs were better. The lyrics weren't like a parody of themselves. I don't mind Brian, but yeah, I get you. Yeah, I mean, Jailbreak and stuff like that, early AC/DC, man, those are some great songs. And Bon Scott was ridiculous. You know. Let's see, what other, I'm blanking on ZZ Top songs right now. What was the other one I was just thinking of? Didn't have to love me like you did, but you did, but you did. Whatever the chord is. Waiting for the Bus. Have mercy. Isn't that what I was playing? No, I wasn't. Shit. Man, I got to go review it. I haven't listened to that stuff in so long, but it's songs from my childhood, so they're kind of ingrained. I played some of them in my bands. I mean, we played... Rumors spreading around. Sorry about the singing. This is the condensed reprised version, right? What is it? Oh, I wish I could sing. She don't love me. She loves my automobile. She don't love me. She loves my automobile. She would do anything to slide behind the wheel. Man, that was some sloppy shit, wasn't it? Let's do that again. Anyway, yeah, that's sort of Billy. Uh-oh. Yeah, LaGrange. There's a few others I used to play, and now I can't remember. Used to play Cheap Sunglasses, used to play LaGrange, used to play Tush, but that was so cliche. You know, and that's really dirty, right? Best thing about that song is the way Billy swings, you know, because most guys go, you know, Billy's like, why don't you ask me when I'm on the outskirts of town? Anyway, yeah, those are some great records. Holy crap. Oh, Tube Snake Boogie. You need a Strat for that, though. That's a Strat one. You know. You need a Strat. I know a gal who lives uptown. She's the one that likes to get down when she boogie. She Do the it's a very dirty suggestion for those of you that have a mind. Tube Snake Boogie. Which is close. It's not right. Mike Leaptrot, seeing ZZ in Nashville at the Ryman now. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Billy still got it. Billy has still got it. Certainly miss his partner there. But yeah, he still got it. Well, man, it's 1 o'clock already. Holy crap. Anyway, whiskey, hand-wired whiskey. What do you guys think? I saw like 3 or 4 emails come through of guys that wanted to talk about it. So I will get to you. I always thought Little Richard and ZZ Top collab. Oh, yeah, sure. Have them do like their cover songs of 50s tunes were great, Walked to a party in the county jail. Prison band was there and they began to wail. That shit's great. I saw that tour, Fandango. I saw that live in Columbia, Missouri in like 1976. They played the football stadium outdoors, and there was like 8 full-blown Marshall stacks on each side of the stage, and most of the guitars you heard came from the stage. It was so joyous. And in 1976, I would have been 11, right? So I remember sitting there going, I want to do that. Like this, it was so badass. And they had those sort of like Nashville nudie suits on at the time, with the rhinestones, and it really looked like Porter Wagner country stuff. Mike says, I think you covered half of my, I can do some high school stuff. Let's do it. You guys get sick of me playing. I love these songs from high school. Anyway, and they had the big cowboy hats that were folded really tight, with the brow down like this. And they looked so bad. And Billy had that 59 Les Paul, and Dusty was playing the telly bass. And man, that sounded so good. Like outdoors with 8 Marshall stacks, black. I don't know if they were all on or not, but I was a kid. I thought they were. Yeah, that shit was great. Wait a minute, that's too much dirt. Let's do it on the clean side and see what it does. Yeah, that sounds there. Yeah, I need a little more dirt than that. Let's take the dirty channel down in gain. These are songs forever in my hands. I haven't performed that song since 1983, maybe 1984 at the latest. Mike Leaptrot, I still have no clue how Billy made a 6-pound hollowed out Les Paul with 8s on it sound that good. Well, that's not what he was playing back then. As he got older, he has serious back problems. I've talked to him about this, and he's a really fun dude. If you talk about Mexican food and hot rods, which are 2 of my favorite things in life, he'll talk to you all day long. If you want to talk about guitars and amps and shit, he goes, well, it's been nice talking to you, But he did tell me about his back problems. He has to sleep on the ground because his back is so bad. And he started hollowing out his guitars, I think, in the 90s because his back started getting so bad. He's a really thin guy. When you're in person, like he's a lot thinner than he was in the 70s and 80s. And I think he stays really, really trim to save his back. So it's less pressure on his back. But yeah, those Les Pauls are all kind of like acoustic guitars almost. They're so hollowed out. There's nothing in the back of them. And that Billy Bo Gretsch that he plays, same thing. When Elwood Francis was working for him, we got a chance to have a look at that stuff. And the Billy Bo it might weigh 5 pounds. It's Hoss Thompson like a duo jet. What do you mean? I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm not following. I'm not from your country. I'm special. Anyway, yeah. Mike, you're talking about high school bands, right? Jesse was a friend. Oh, hollowed out. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just from the back. I mean, on the top is still solid. It's just like they took the back and hollowed it out. And it's more chambering, I think, is what it is. They're all chambered out, and Gibson makes them for him. I play along with the charades. Hit me with your Pet Shark. Oh, yeah, right. I used to play that. Oh, my God. How does that go? Oh, my God. How does that go? Oh, my God. You and I have to play music together. Summer of 69. Yeah, we always played Cuts Like a Knife. That was the Bryan Adams song that, when I was playing in high school, would make the underwear drop. You know. The other one, of course, oh, I hate to even play it because it's so cliche, but you know, it's a great song. Oh, that's wrong. Hey! Sing it, right? Come on, you guys sing along. What I like about you. Time. Yeah, it's good stuff. So good little rock and roll amp, right? And I've got the gain way down. If you want to do like this stuff here. And then, like I say, this is a low output guitar. If you had a Paul Reed Smith or, you know, I think these pickups, my bridge pickup, I think is 7.1 or 7.2K. Whereas, you know, most sort of harder rock guitars, Ibanez, Paul Reed Smith, that kind of stuff, those pickups go 9 to 13K, you know, like twice as hot as these. Anyway, get the idea. That's your high school set list, Mike? Yeah. Where'd you grow up, Mike? Jane by Jefferson Airplane. Yeah, how does it go? Oh, man, I think I played that in junior high. Athens, Georgia. Oh, cool. Yeah, I used to play in Athens when I was based out of Atlanta. We were friends with all those Athens bands like, you know, REM and what was the other one? 10,000 Maniacs. And was Driving and Crying from there, or are they an Atlanta band? It was the 80s, right? So they were all in Atlanta, but I knew they were from Athens. Yeah, 10,000 Maniacs, right? Weren't they from Athens? And REM, of course. I used to know Mike. I used to run into Mike a lot. He was a really nice dude. Jason and the Scorchers. I sold you a Marshall at Rhythm City? Get the out of here. Are you serious? Oh my God. Jonestown, New York. Oh, Jamestown, New York. Who's that? 10,000 Maniacs, Brian? What are you talking about? We opened for Driving and Crying. What was the name of your band? Oh my God. That's so funny. I've had like 5 or 6 dudes that knew me from Rhythm City in Atlanta. Peter and I used to manage the guitar and amp section there for a while. Manage is a big word. We were kind of the dudes. We were the older guys that would show up for work sober. So that made us in charge. I played, 10,000. Oh, I live 2 towns. Okay. Maybe they relocated down to Atlanta or Athens or something, Brian. But it would have been like 19, what? What year did I sell you that Marshall at Rhythm City? I worked there twice. I worked there in the 80s while I was in a band. No, Mike McCready uses a Empire. Dog is asking, did Mike McCready use a whiskey in his live rig or was that an Empire? As far as I know, Mike has like 2 Empires and that's it from us. And he's got a 212 cabinet that he uses a lot. Sometimes he runs other amps into that. Probably 86. Yeah. So I moved there in 87. And I was there for a while until I moved to England. And then when I came back from England, I worked back at Rhythm City for just a really short period before I went back to college. Hi, by the way. Hi, Doug. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Oh, that's so cool. I can't see your face, Mike. Let me see can I see your... I wish I could say I remember you, but you look like a friendly, nice guy. And it's nice to see you again. I'm sorry, a long time ago. Peter and I, so Peter had the job there, and then I joined a band in Atlanta that was kind of, I think my mic's cranked up here because I'm yelling. I get excited. I joined a band where the drummer used to date his wife. It was one of those things where the first gig I played in Atlanta with this band called The Law. Mike, you probably remember The Law, right? We were part of that whole Swingin' Richards group. The Swingin' Richards had 2 subgroups, right? There was The Law, and then there was Caesar Speaks. I was part of that little crowd. Dog says, I have an Empire for sale. I think, why are you selling your Empire? I think I knew Peter, but he was so young and I'm old. Well, I don't know. Peter's 65 years old now. But anyway, so the first gig, the drummer comes up and goes, hey, man, my ex-girlfriend married this dude. He's a really nice guy, really great guitar player. Would you mind if he sat in with us and played your rig? And I said, of course not. Yeah, that's great. I didn't know anyone in town either. So I'm like, cool, another guitar player. I literally just moved there like the week before. And it was Peter. It was Peter Stroud. That's how I met him. And he got up and played my guitar through my Marshall, my Plexi Marshall. And I sat there going, damn, I love the way this guy plays. I want to be friends with this guy. And we ended up becoming really good friends, like immediately. We just had kind of that special rapport that you have with a few people. Loud and proud, Tommy Hayes. Yeah, loud and proud, Peter Stroud. That's it. Anyway, he was a great player. Oh my God. And he doesn't play guitar naturally like what he does with Sheryl Crow. He does that because it's appropriate for the gig. Peter's a shredder. I mean, like, bam. He had a band in Caesar Speaks. He was the ripping shredder in that band. Totally cool, Tommy. He was just shredding in that band. He played Strats into half stacks and just ripped. And then he had a band with Pat Buchanan, who a lot of you guys know now, who moved to Nashville and became like, CMA Guitar Player of the Year like 10 times, ridiculous sideman touring guy. They had a band called, the Planktones. And they was all instrumental and they were dueling harmonies. And, I remember specifically, I'll see if I can find a recording of it. It was crazy. And I did like Monday, Monday by the Mamas and the Papas, only with Floyd Rose whammy bars in harmony. It was great. Scotty Bratcher witnessed, he said, Peter and Audley had a sound check. Has to be one of the greatest things I've ever heard. Yeah. So Peter and Audley are both from Greensboro, North Carolina. And, when I was playing in the South, if Audley Freed had this band called Cry of Love. And, Audley's killer, right? And so Peter and Audley were like the two dudes from Greensboro, and it was a very friendly rivalry, like very friendly. They love each other. They're really good friends. And they have been for 50 years, I think. 40 years at least. Anyway, if we were playing anywhere near where Audley was, where Cry of Love was playing, we'd stop and go watch it because Audley was so good. It was like a mix of Hendrix meets the Allman Brothers. If you ever find Cry of Love on YouTube and stuff, you're going to be like, why weren't those guys enormous? I think what they needed to do was meet Brendan O'Brien, who was working in Atlanta, and they didn't. But seriously, look up Cry of Love on YouTube, and you'll see Audley there. Young Audley, right? Big hippie Audley. Kind of looks like what Scotty Bratcher looks like right now. Big broad-brimmed hat, playing a Strat and killing it. Serious Marshall sound. Anyway, so Peter and Audley have always been sort of friendly parallel guys. And they have always been friends, and they like each other. They respect each other. They enjoy each other's guitar playing and all that stuff. Scotty Bratcher says Steve Melton engineered that record over in Muscle Shoals. Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. That's nice. And then when Cheryl, the band had, it's a long story, but Cheryl had kind of let the band go. She was convinced by a record producer that she should get a band of studio guys from LA and go out touring with them. It was a huge mistake, and she knows it. And so she came back. Yeah, Audley, Hendrix, and Billy Gibbons equals Scotty Bratcher. Yeah, I think Scotty Bratcher is right up there with Audley Freed. Very similar sort of DNA there. Scotty Bratcher is like a young Audley, and really fucking good. I mean, just so good. Anyway, so Peter had started this band in Nashville called Big Hat. And he put together, it's his dream band, right? It was Audley Freed playing guitar with him, Robert Kearns playing bass. At the time, Robert was the bass player in Lynyrd Skynyrd. And Fred Eltringham playing drums, who was from the Wallflowers. Fred can swing like Ringo. I mean, Fred is a Ringo guy. And if you guys know Ringo, Ringo has a very special swing about him. And Fred can swing like Ringo. And so Peter wants that, right? And then Ike Stubblefield playing Hammond, right? Ike Stubblefield from, all the great big gospel acts and Isley Brothers and, oh my God, just stupid band. So one day, Big Hat's playing in Nashville. At this point, Cheryl had moved to Nashville, and she got Peter aside and said, this is the band I always wanted. Can we make this work somehow? And she was really nice, and she was really cool. Realized that wasn't the best thing to do what she did, but she's a grown up. I'm going to turn this off for now. We'll talk for a minute and then let it go. Let me put this away. Les Paul. So, anyway, so she came to Peter and said, man, 300 miles to Memphis was the record, Tommy. 100 miles from Memphis, I think is what it's called. Yeah, that's right. That's it right, Era. So the guy that produced that record, they had a relationship. Anyway, it's not my business. It's not our business. It's their business. But anyway, so she came to Peter and said, this is the band I've always wanted. Like, you guys sound great. Like, can we make this work somehow? And so Peter went and negotiated a deal, and he's the musical director of the band ever since. I mean, he was the musical director of her previous band with, those guys that ended up in Noel Gallagher's Flying Birds and stuff. But like, this is his band, and he runs it. Cheryl doesn't even show up, I think, until they're almost, fully rehearsed. She's got kids, and she's grown up. So anyway, Peter has his dream band, and he's out getting paid to do what he loves. And it's him and Audley. When he picked his dream band, it was him and Audley Freed. And tell another secret, Peter's got another project going on, but I can't talk about it. But I've heard the demos, and again, was it Plato or was it Socrates that said, fuck me, this is great. Pardon the vulgarity, but I couldn't think of a better way to say it. Anyway, so that's the story. Audley Freed and Peter Stroud, two young guys from Greensboro, North Carolina, whose paths had crossed for decades, now bandmates for over a decade. It's really cool. And they're both great guys. I mean, they're really nice. You know, Audley's such a sweet dude. And however old they are now, they're both in their mid 60s. And their hands are still just fantastic. I mean, just fantastic. Wasn't that Seneca? You talking about Peter's other project? No, no, something else. I don't know what that is. Seneca, New York? Isn't there a town in New York called Seneca? Seneca Falls, I think, is what it's called. I don't know. You got me there, Haas. Anyway, yeah, Haas, if you have a good camera and some lights, I can bring you in. I can do all sorts of stuff on here. I can put a screen up here and type screens and all. It's really fun. I should try that so people can see the comments on the recording. Oh, Seneca was another. Oh, I'm sorry. Haas, we really got to meet. I really want to get back to England soon. I have a really good friend of mine here in Los Angeles who immigrated. He's now an American citizen, but he's from London, and his parents moved up to just south of the Lake District, which I think is pretty close to you guys, right? It's just west of you, in the town that you live in. Is that correct? I'm blanking the name. Is it Lancashire? I don't know. I got to look at a map. My English geography's disappearing, melting like a bad snowman in my head. I haven't lived there in a long time. Seneca was the other philosopher who said that. Yeah, you're right, Haas. Thank you again for correcting me and updating me. Yeah, I got my backup dude here. But anyway, yeah, that's right. So anyway, I'll get the name of the place and send it to you. Anyways, beautiful countryside, you know, stone walls and border collies running sheep around, and my kind of gig, dude. Like, I need to, yeah, are you and Jack still bros, like doing all your thing? I see the pictures of him and Sadie with kids now, and it's really nice. You know, they came here and visited me, unlike you, who didn't. We had a great visit. Oh my God. Like, they're just family, instant family. It was really nice. Didn't Audley play with the Black Crowes? Yes. Audley was in the Black Crowes for at least one album, maybe two. He toured with them for a long time. And it was during that Jimmy Page where they intersected somewhat. Yeah, he was quite an addition to the Black Crowes. I think he replaced Mark Ford, if I remember. Mark's also a fantastic guitar player and a friend of mine. He's a really nice guy. And his hands are so good, so soulful, you know. Yeah, that's right, Mike. Oh, Mike, we're old friends, and it's great to see you again. Rhythm City alumni. Yeah, there's another guy that comes on here from Atlanta named Mike Bledsoe, and I used to sell him gear too, and he remembers me. He's taken off from music, and he's still in the band and plays when he feels like he can. Yeah, it's hard being a dad. Yeah, Jax is a gent. He's a real dude. I had a great time hanging with him and Sadie. And it was funny because I hadn't lived in England for a long time, so I wasn't used to like the northern dialect. And Sadie commented on my daughter. She said, "You've got some bonny lasses." And it took me a second. I went, what? Oh, right. Oh, God, I forgot. Been that long since I lived in Britain. And she was all embarrassed. I'm like, no, please. I love it. I love the northern dialect. I think it's great. As an American, I don't care about North and South or any of that stuff. I love it all. It's neat. But they were trying to like not use northern dialect and try to speak more of the Queens. And I was like, you don't have to do that. It's fine. I get it. I prefer you be comfortable and be yourselves, right? So it was nice. Anyway, great visit. I hope to meet you at some point too, Haas. But anyway, Mike Leaptrot. So what band were you playing in Atlanta when I sold you that Marshall? We weren't there that much. I was on the road all the time, so I actually didn't spend that much time in Atlanta. We used to have a house gig. What was it called? Remember Rupert's at Roswell Road and Peachtree. There's Rupert's, and there was a club next to it. And it was like Club 41 or something like that. We had a house gig there, like Tuesday or Wednesday nights for a while, for a long time. But other than that, we were out on the weekends. We never hardly played in Atlanta. We played at the Royal Peacock. Remember the Royal Peacock? We were the band that caught it on fire. We used to call it the Roasted Peacock. Yeah, we were out on the road all the time. So I used to see bands that I knew. Like I went to see Caesar Speaks a lot because Peter was in it. And my roommate was Hoddy Riderick. Do you know Hoddy? Hoddy, Hoddy Riderick. He was my roommate. Left-handed guitar player, played a black Les Paul custom most of the time through a Hiwatt. Louder than shit. We were roommates for a long time. The Roasted Peacock. Yeah, that's it. I was in a cover band called Axis. Cut my hair and got a real job soon after. Played mostly in Athens. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, but it doesn't mean I didn't see you. I definitely saw you at Rhythm City, right? So that's cool. Yeah, and I used to go see the Hellhounds, which Mike's probably the only guy here that knows who the Hellhounds are. That's the Georgia Satellites without Dan Baird, right? Rick Richards, Ricky Price, and Mauro Magellan. Just three-piece, ridiculous, jacked up rock and roll band. They were so good and so loud. I remember the first time I went to see them at this bar called Hedgens in Atlanta, and they were so loud I had to put napkins in my ears. Dude, I just came from the Sunset Strip, and they were blowing my head off. The Hellhounds, right? They were fantastic. You can find, I think they're on YouTube, or you can find recordings on the internet about them doing Slaughterhouse, about a guy that works in a slaughterhouse, and his wife's always complaining that he smells like pig shit. And, oh my God, wake up, little darling, why do you got to bitch so much? And working 9 to 5, trying to stay alive, working at the slaughterhouse. Those are fun songs. And then they did George Jones songs, but it was as if, you know, a modern, almost punk, southern punk rock band did. It was so good. And who else? Wasn't that other many? I mean, there were some local bands that were always still playing there, like Kansas. The band Kansas had moved to Atlanta. So I got to interact with those guys a little bit. 38 Special, Jeff Carlisi was a nice guy, came out all the time. Buddy Bowie from Atlanta Rhythm Section. Steve Marriott was there at the time, you know, from the Small Faces. He had moved to Atlanta. He used to come and sit in with us wearing bowling shoes. That's what I always remember. He had bowling shoes on, which I thought was fun. I'm like, man, where'd you get those? So I just walked out with them. But he would come sit in with us. It was a good time. Ringo lived there at the time, too. Ringo lived in Atlanta, but I never saw him. He was living there with his wife at the time. Atlanta was really happening until Seattle. Once Seattle happened, Atlanta just died out. It was kind of weird, like just popped. But yeah, it was fun times, Mike. I think you probably experienced a lot of those. But yeah, I soon cut my hair off and went to college and pulled my head out of my rear end and realized I wasn't going to be a rock star, and I should get serious about life. But that was when I was 27. So I played music for a living from the time I was 15 until I was 27. I put groceries on the table with my guitar. It was great. And then I moved to England. I played in bands over there, but it wasn't what I was doing for a living. It was a side thing, just for fun. I was driving a catering truck, and then after a while, I got lonely and poor and homesick, and I went back to Missouri and finished college. And here I am. What the heck? Yeah. Anyway, so I better go, guys. We're at an hour and a half already. This show can carry on forever. Thanks you guys for sticking it out with me. It looks like everyone pretty much stayed. Great talk. I'm sorry it went so long. I sold you a JCM 800. Yeah, that's what it would have been in 1987. We sold a lot of JCM 800s. I mean, a lot. On Saturday afternoon, we'd sell 10 or 12 of those things. It was crazy. They were very popular. Oh, Lars, I'm just shutting down, buddy. You'll have to watch the recording. But I'll be back next week with this amp, and the clean sound's going to be finalized. I think. At least it'll be next step. I like it now a lot, but it could use a little more. I think there's room to grow there. Um, yeah, Mike, I got my plexis working there because people traded them in on JCM 800s. And George Luther, the guy that owned Rhythm City, did not give two you know whats about plexis. He's like, if it doesn't have a master volume on it, nobody wants it. I'm like, really? I'll take it. And I think I bought a plexi there from him, I think $350. And Peter bought a bunch from him. I bought a couple. I bought a 50 watt. I think it was a 69 or 70. I sold it soon after because I'm a dipshit, but ended up getting another 50 watt later. But yeah, plexis came through there all the time because everybody wanted to trade in for a JCM 800. Is that just the dumbest thing you ever heard in your life now? Like, JCM 800s are fine amps, but you know, it was just they had a really good master volume on it. That's why everybody wanted it. And they had a lot of gain compared to a plexi. You know, with a plexi, if you wanted a lot of gain, you had to use a pedal. And people were playing DiMarzio pickups that were like 14K. Remember the DiMarzio Super Distortion? That was created mostly to make a plexi distort. Yeah, you got a good Les Paul from George when he sold out to Guitar Center. Yeah, he was the biggest Gibson dealer in the South. We sold shitloads of Les Pauls. I don't know if you remember the store in Buckhead. That's the one where Peter and I worked. But there was all the Les Pauls were on the wall, and there was a rail, so you couldn't get to it. And the rail was big enough you could stand on it. And so on a Saturday afternoon, I would stand at the end of the rail and go, "Who wants to buy a guitar and have money now?" And like 12 dudes would raise their hand, like because they'd all come from everywhere in the Southeast to come to Rhythm City. And I would say, and have a pen and paper, and I would just sit here and go, "What's your name, Steve? What do you want, Steve?" "I want a Les Paul Standard in cherry." "Okay, hang on a second." And I had another young dude that worked there, and I just hand him the notes and say, "Bring all these out from the back or get them down from the wall." And I'd line them up in the audition rooms, and I'd sell ridiculous amounts of guitars. It was really fun. Working in that store, you learn how to make any guitar sound good. $900. Yeah, that's right. When I worked at Rhythm City, Les Pauls retailed for $19.99, and we used to sell them for $1,100. And a Strat retailed for $1,000. We'd sell them for $599. Like that green Strat I was playing at the beginning. That's the Japanese, $200. A really good guitar too. And you change the pickups and the bridge out on it, it's as good as any Strat ever. You know, really nice. Anyway, oh my God, we can just talk forever. Well, let's continue next week, all right? Good talk, guys. Thank you for all the great comments and the laughs. Haas, especially, we got to do a double screen thing here. That would be awesome. I can actually do two people and the screen. So we'll get it working. Anyway, I do need to go. And I love you guys. Thanks for showing up. For all of you that wrote me an email about the whiskey, 2100. Hopefully the algorithm doesn't pick that up. Anyway, love you guys. I'll see you next week. You guys take care, okay? Cheers.